We are back,
We
Kelly.
are. Woohoo!
Wow. Today feels like this. I mean, this series of shows we're doing is just so exciting. I'm knowing where we're going and where we just were.
Right.
Just sitting out in the audience listening to this, they're getting a lot today. I mean, the guests we're having.
We had Bernie, who we were talking about amazing serendipity and consciousness and right.
Well, and actually, could you bring up the coincidence that we talked about during the break between Bernie and our guest coming up about their podcasts or about their
the cafe.
The cafes. Yeah.
Bernie had a consciousness cafe, and our beautiful guest has a death cafe. And when it was interesting, I was doing the pre-research for the show. And then he mentioned a cafe, and then your cafe, and I was like, "Oh, those are two very different cafes, but fascinating." Okay, yeah. Brian, who do we have on today?
All right, so here we go.
Who's our next guest?
Our guest today is Hemali Vora. And
you said that beautifully.
She's a best-selling author, speaker, holistic practitioner, intuitive quantum energy healer, channel and spiritual mentor.
Opens Akashic Records.
Absolutely on a mission to transform people's perspectives and expand their view of life, exploring the depths of their divinity through modern and ancient teachings. And yes, she is also an Akashic Records practitioner. So welcome. Hemali. Thanks so much for being on our show.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited to talk to you guys about all the work that's out there.
Yeah. Well, we're excited and we're going to jump in. We don't like wasting time.
Nope.
Our firm belief with our show is that you are a person first and foremost. Yes, you're an expert. Yes, you're a master healer. Yes, you're all these things that we just said. But ultimately, those are a result of who you are and the experiences you've had. And so if you could walk us back into the earlier parts of your life where today you could look back and go, oh, that experience I had at 10 years old really played an integral role in what I do today or in what I've done for the past 10 years. Could you share one of those experiences with us?
Sure. First of all, I love the name of your show because I believe that curiosity has led me to where I am right now.
Awesome.
I'm just a very curious soul, and I'm always asking as little kids, why? And I want to know more about it. And I'm not satisfied until, my soul says that, yes, this is the answer. From what I do right now, through my meditation, I was reminded of an experience I think I was 8 or 9 years old, where I had out-of-body experience where my uncle had passed away. And this is in India. I grew up in India. And where we have home funerals. And I remember exactly what they did in terms of how he was laid and the rituals that we do, more of Hindu Vedic practice, and where everybody was sitting, the conversations they were having, how the shifts were happening in terms of when a male patriarch is kind of out of the whole family in terms of, they've transitioned and now who's going to take that space. And that little bit about conversation about money, about the house, the things, and what people talk about the person, how he was, and, and kind of like, so I just had this, almost like I'm walking through and I can envision everything that was said, everything, even at this point, I can still remember the conversations that were being had at the time. Yeah.
So was that part of the inspiration for Sacred Death? And
Not at all.
okay, that's that's what I thought, but I was like, okay, that could be interesting.
Yeah. So my dad passed away in 2010, and actually, end of this month it will be 13 years. And since then, I've been, I kind of had this whole existential crisis. Why are we here? What is our purpose? What am I here for? I'm sure I kept thinking about this whole life life journey of, being born, going to school, and then going to college and working, getting married, having kids, taking care of your grandkids. That can't be it. There has to be more to life. And I kept, so somewhere I read about this whole loop that you're in, that circle of life and death. That's what the belief is in terms of Hindus, Buddhists. And I really was in this space where if this is the lifetime that I am telling you, I'm talking to universe, God, whoever is listening to me, I want to be out of this loop. And you tell me anything and everything that I need to do to get out of this loop. Okay. And I will follow your guidance. And so that's how, and then I kept thinking about legacy work. What is my purpose? And that's how, it all started.
Hello.
Yeah.
So it's the last 13 years that you've done your training with energy work and Akashic Records and all of the different modalities that you play in? And I say play out of respect, by the way, because if we're not playful, it's just, the energy is just not as vibrant and you don't have the swirl.
Exactly. And, well, I'm a physical therapist. I worked at the hospitals, nursing homes. And when I was in PT school in 90s, I knew I had something in my hands because every time I would touch someone, I would feel heat in my palm. Mm-hmm. And my cousin had told me about Reiki. And so I knew that I wanted to learn.
Right.
But it's 2014 that I took a class, and then I did holistic nutrition and kind of blended in the whole movement as exercise, stretching, nutrition as more of intuitive, as guided, asking your body what it needs daily, and with energy work.
Right.
It kind of, once you learn these things, you can't unlearn it.
Nope.
And you can't go back to doing what you were doing before.
No.
So my whole practice as a physical therapist also shifted and changed. And then every day I would meditate. I would do Reiki on myself. I would, and I was just guided. And my guidance led to this whole concept of end-of-life doula.
Okay.
And
just to let anyone know that doesn't know what an end-of-life doula is, share with our audience what an end-of-life doula is, because a lot of people, and some people don't even know what a doula is. And I know that there's a birth doula that brings it in, but a death doula assists in
helping people die. Okay. And helping at the end stage. They can help the families during the end stage, helping with, and it doesn't have to be at the end stage, if you want to start preparing from right now, helping with advanced directives, will, any kind of financial, like getting connected to someone, writing down what would you like, or how would you like your last hour to look like. If you want someone to stay with you and the family to help you through this process. Talking about what does dying look like?
Right.
What are some of the symptoms? What are some of the signs? What do people feel? And there are so many other modalities now in terms of medically assisted dying, where death doula help with that. There is where you stop eating and drinking anything, and they help with that process. Of course, with also guidance of nurse and doctors, but they are also integral part of the palliative care or hospice.
Oh, absolutely. I looked at it that with my doula, she was my concierge. It was really like she handled, and it was interesting how she handled things that you wouldn't even think that we needed that day, right? Yeah. And I love that, to be able to transition out and know that everything is just, you have someone holding that space that's just, everything's taken care of. So then you just focus on the transition itself. I'm sorry, Mr. Brian, I cut you off.
No. Oh my gosh. We're having a lively conversation. That's what we do.
Right.
I myself was curious. I heard you share about your uncle early on in your life, your father passing in 2010. I think I'll state the obvious that death is not winning a popularity contest. So it's very clear to me that you're taking, the name of your book is Sacred Death. You're working in a field of being a death doula, which I'm sure very, very, very few people on planet Earth even have put those two words together, let alone understand them.
Right.
So my curiosity is, could you say that those two experiences led you on this path to wanting to bring sacredness to death? Could you say it was those two? Were there other experiences? Share the story of how you wanted to shine a different light or create a different perspective around this thing that we all ultimately come to.
Right? Because your book is targeted also at caregivers. It's not the person transitioning. It's tips and tricks and tools for the caregivers as they're helping that transition happen.
And both can use it,
sure.
And going back to what Brian was saying is, I actually did have another experience in 2009 where my aunt passed away. And I had that out-of-body experience and watching everyone grieve what they're saying. But ultimately, my awakening in that was that no matter what, we went to the hospital and we went to her house afterwards, and everything was just there. You don't take anything with you. Nothing.
No.
Everything was there. Clothes, any possessions, anything you hold so dear to you, you leave all that. So it's like running after things, craving for things. It's that again shifted my life in terms of and then after that, my dad passed away. And that was again, it's like you come into this world alone and you go out alone.
Right.
And yeah.
So you have the book, Sacred Death. Okay. And we can get that anywhere. You have a special experience that you're planning in March in India, and it's a retreat. And I want to give you space to be able to share with it, because there could be people that are called, and you're bringing people in from all over the world to experience. And you grew up in India, so you're going to be able to give this insider's point of view to this experience. So please tell us about your retreat.
So this will be in the land of Himalayan mountains, and it's actually up north. It's between Kullu and Manali, if anybody knows, very close to Kashmir. And it's an experience going to deep down within yourself, experiencing this freedom and liberation. You close your eyes as a little kid, when you do peekaboo with them, and they feel that everything disappears when you close your eyes. And same thing when you meditate, you're able to go, if you are an avid meditation person, or you've been doing meditation for a while, you know that you can go into dimensions and realms and deeper into that. And so what is that? That is a freedom. And the same thing as you are able to, how do you bring that freedom in every moment? How do you step out of all the other illusions or non-duality or duality of things. That really changing that perspective changes your suffering, your pain, increases your joy, level of joy. And so more going to these 500-year-old temples and meditating there, soaking up the energy from there, experiencing this connection, not only with people, but the land itself.
No, that's beautiful. And they can, how does someone find out more about the retreat?
So if they go on my website, it's HemaliVora.com and / India Retreat 23.
Perfect.
And and then they can, I don't have any payment or anything on there because I definitely like to speak with them. So not everybody can join depending on what you're looking for. It's a retreat, not a travel.
Right. Yeah. Well, our job is just to connect you guys and you take it from there. And it's beautiful. Oh my goodness. Okay. So out of all of the, this is the problem with radio. Then I start channeling and then it just becomes, it's just like, I gotta focus. Okay. Tell us a little bit more about Sacred Death is not the only book that you've been a part of. Tell us about some of the other books that you've collaborated on.
I've written on Ultimate Guide to Self-Healing, Volume 1, where I've written about mindful eating. In Ultimate Guide to Self-Healing, Volume 4, I've written about legacy work, how to live your with purpose and intention, and an Ancestral Within, honoring your ancestors. I've written about sacred retreats,
which is also what you're planning in India. So, right, just bringing people back there a little bit. It all comes together, right? You also. Oh, sorry, Mr. Brian.
I was just gonna say, I definitely want to get whatever Kelly was coming with, but because we're short on time, I wanted to give you some space. The world's been through a lot. People have been through a lot, especially recently. And because you're an expert and have really achieved mastery in so many of these different modalities and perspectives, and I know you're a world traveler, you have a very unique and I would say a wide-ranged perspective. And so what would be your message for someone who would listen to this that might bump them in a direction that they ultimately are hoping to go? What would be your message to someone based on all of your experience and everything that you've come to know? What would you say to that person?
Well, my one message would be that know that nothing is right or wrong, nothing is good or bad, and whatever, ask yourself, really, what is your gut telling you? Mm-hmm. Listen to that. Be more in more awareness. And the more you are in awareness and consciousness, that will lead you to where you need to go. It will get you to meet people from anywhere. So increasing your vibration, your frequency will really help you to move you forward to whatever it is that your purpose is in life.
That's beautiful. We could sit here with you for hours. Oh my goodness. So just to wrap up before I give you the website and how people can get a hold of you, you have the modalities of holistic nutrition, holy fire Reiki. Actually, you actually do a couple different modalities of Reiki. You open Akashic Records, end of life doula, and you also host a virtual death cafe. I mean, the offerings, you guys, are amazing. How do people get a hold of you?
They can come on HemaliVora.com or email me, HemaliVora1@gmail.com.
And that website, you guys, is HemaliVora.com. Extremely important. I just want to make sure that we spell it right? We can't thank you enough. Now, again, we have the retreat in March 27th to April 6th in India. We have the book, Sacred Death. Again, her website, HEMALIVORA.com. Thank you so much for being here. I think that we need to have you back sometime soon because we could just crack into any different of your modalities. Kelly and Brian and Kelly signing off. Thank you so much and have a blessed day.